What I'm about to tell you is one of the, if not the biggest announcement of my entire career.
So this is really a fantastic set of fraud. Their Badger pickup truck, which was going to be their real big entry to the marketplace, fraud.
An electric fuel cell pickup to rival Tesla's Cybertruck, the Badger.
They were going out and buying Ford F-150 trucks and throwing their logo on it.
No one should have ever taken the Nikola Badger seriously.
The Badger is basically dead too.
The future isn't looking bright.
No, I'm not surprised that the Badger got canceled. Clearly never made a functioning prototype.
Something is not adding up here. So Tom, help us understand something. I mean, what is the company itself, the core thing about all this?
Serious fraud here. Milton resigned from the company, and the company now.
Boy, have I got a story for you guys. In fact, you may want to take a seat and hold on to your hats and glasses, because what I'm about to tell you might just blow your mind. As you can see, right behind me are 2 pickup trucks, 4 UTVs, and 2 wave runners. Before I get too far into the story, I just want to apologize to every single one of you. I wasn't just trying to hide things or cover anything up because there was nothing to cover up. It was just a really big, complex deal. We just couldn't really talk about anything along the way. I know you guys probably see me here and there mentioning that I'll have news about Nikola soon. Well, now I can tell you. I know that every single one of you is probably dying to see these trucks in action, and you're wondering if they actually run and drive. Well, they do. Yes, they did drive under their own power. No, they weren't rolled down a hill. The footage you're gonna see in this video was me actually driving these vehicles. In late 2019, a good friend of mine, Trevor Milton, reached out to me to let me know that he was interested in partnering with me to release a pickup truck through his company, Nikola. Trevor needed somebody who understood trucks, who understood marketing, who understood, how to build a truck for guys like you and me. We're not talking about, grocery getters just going around town. We're talking about trucks that can actually do truck stuff. He basically brought me into Nikola to be the launch platform for the Nikola Badger. We released a rendering of the Badger and letting the whole world know that Nikola was now entering the pickup truck space. People started getting really, really excited about this program. And right around the same time, Nikola went public. I believe the share value got somewhere around $90 a share at the peak. We had a lot of people that pre-ordered these trucks, and there was no compensation. I wasn't getting paid for my services, but instead I had an opportunity to collect some stocks on the back end if the project performed like everybody hoped it would. So there was potential to make a lot of money and do really well with it. But there was also a lot of risk because I wasn't getting paid anything for my time up front. So summer 2020, the world's going crazy over Nikola, and then in comes Hindenburg.
General Motors has canceled its $2 billion investment in Nikola Motors. All kinds of problems and accusations.
Trevor Milton used his massive social media platform to inflate his company's stock price.
Hindenburg is a research firm based out of New York City. They bet on the value of a company going down. They essentially compiled a report trying to make a case against Trevor that Trevor was a fraud.
Nikola has now made a statement with regard to some of the allegations made by short-selling research firm Hindenburg. It's not a research report, they say. It is not accurate.
Trevor recently had a sentencing hearing, and the judge sentenced him to 4 years in prison, but he said that Trevor will not have to start serving that sentence pending Trevor's appeal, which basically means the appeal process is going through, and hopefully he never has to go to prison, because quite frankly there was a lot of issues with his trial. And I'm not here to point fingers at anybody. I simply just am trying to expose the facts and a side of the story that many of you never really got a chance to hear. I think the best thing that anybody could do right now, if you want to learn more about the trial and the situation, you should read an article written by this gal named Jessica Reed Krause, and it's called When the Jury Gets It Wrong. This is, hands down, one of the craziest documents I've ever read. It's kind of terrifying knowing that this kind of stuff is happening in our justice system. So it might open your eyes a little bit to understand a little bit more about kind of what's really going on. I'll just tell you this, I've known Trevor for a really long time. I've watched him grow this company and put his whole, blood, sweat, and tears into that. And I know that he was doing things the right way because the company was growing and it was thriving. And now the company's not necessarily thriving like it once was. It was exciting. It was, a lot of ambition, a lot of passion. So when Nikola canceled the Badger program in late 2020, there was just kind of radio silence. They just took everything off the websites. They told the world that they were not building anymore, and they refunded the deposits. But during our time promoting the truck, we had mentioned that we were so excited to unveil our prototypes at Nikola World, which is a big event that was happening in late 2020. So what most people don't know, and what's the crazy part of the story that I'm about to tell you, is these trucks actually exist. They're real. They drive. You can open the doors. They have seats. They are freaking beautiful, which you're gonna see here in some of the footage. These trucks were delivered to Nikola before the Nikola World event in 2020 was supposed to happen. I don't know the exact date, sometime between October and December of 2020, these trucks arrived at Nikola ready to roll. Not ready to be sold. These are prototypes, remember, these are not production models, but they were there to show the entire world what we had promised, which was the Nikola Badger. I went out there and put my name on this. I went out and put my friends' reputations, like everybody that I know, I got them to support this cause because I truly, wholly believed in it. And that's a big deal. And Trevor knew that was a big deal, which is why, even though things were going crazy for him there and he was having, he was getting attacked from every angle, he stood firm on his promise of getting the Badgers built. So obviously one of the main allegations against Trevor was that the Nikola Badger wasn't real. Everybody was saying that it was fake, it was never coming, it was never going to be done, it was just a fraud, it was just a scheme to get, deposits.
Nikola uploaded to their channel talking about how real the Badger is. He never made a functioning prototype.
But while all that stuff was happening, these trucks were just sitting there, sitting in storage, because since Nikola decided to cancel these programs, they needed to show their shareholders that they were seriously, focusing on the big rig stuff. They didn't know what to do with these assets. The Badgers just sat in the storage room, the UTVs, the wave runners, everything was just basically sitting in storage doing nothing. So in early 2021, we began negotiating with Nikola to purchase these programs from them. It was the most complicated, one of the most frustrating processes of my life trying to get this deal done, because there was some really big numbers that we're talking about. We're talking about tens and tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars. It wasn't a small amount of money. The structure of the Badger program right now as it sits is myself and my partner Cole Cannon, who negotiated the deal, who literally, he's a wizard. That's all I can say about Cole is he is so persistent, he's so disciplined, and he's so smart. He just stayed on top of this deal, and even though there was probably 10 times where I just said, forget it, it's not worth it, it's too much headache, it's never gonna get done, Cole just sat there and grinded through and finally got this deal done. So that brings me to today. So the first thing I want to explain to you is the structure of kind of the deal here. Myself and Cole, my partner, own a company that's called Ember. Ember is the new company that was formed to take delivery of the Nikola Badger and the UTVs and the wave runners. And because we were no longer going to use the Nikola name. That did not come with the purchase of the assets. The only thing that came with it was the intellectual property of the name Badger and the NZT and the wave runners and that kind of stuff. But we did not purchase the rights to use, obviously, Nikola corporate name. Even though they're a partner of ours still on the deal, a minority partner, it's them and us. Me and Cole, majority owners, and then you got the Nikola, and then they have a loan against some of the assets. But it was a great deal for everybody. Helped them unload a bunch of stuff that wasn't doing any good, and it gave me what I've been waiting for so freaking long. Guys, this has been such a rough process. We're a long ways off from me making any money on this deal, but I am committed to delivering cleaner power to the truck world. I mean, come on, there's a million easier ways to make money, but for me, this is about leaving a legacy and delivering something amazing to all of you. As soon as I first saw the picture of the Badger that it was done in late 2020, all I wanted to do was post it. All I wanted to do was go out and say, hey guys, look, it's real. See, I wasn't lying, I wasn't making stuff up. This isn't a fraud. But I couldn't, because obviously there's a lot. When you're dealing with companies this big and numbers like this, there's a lot of pieces of paper that you sign that basically just say, shut up and don't tell anybody about what's going on. All right, so now that I've got the structure of the deal out of the way, and hopefully you guys understand a little bit better what that looks like, I want to get into the actual Badger and the Power Sports program, because I am really, really, really excited about this. I've driven this truck, quite a bit since we've had it. It's unreal. Now, what you need to know, this video is not a sales pitch. Don't use any of this information that I'm giving you to make any financial decisions. What I need to do is focus all of my time, energy, and attention on this. And I'm really excited about that because this is really cool. In my opinion, it looks like a brand new truck that just rolled off the showroom floor of any major manufacturer. Now, keep in mind, they are still just prototypes. So I'm not making you any promises or any guarantees that this truck is ever even gonna come to the market. I'm not guaranteeing you that this truck has certain performance specs. All I'm gonna do is tell you what my plans are. And my plans are to take these incredible vehicles and finish what we started. The reason why I was excited about the Badger program in the first place was because it's obviously a battery electric vehicle, but the concept that we had was to make it a fuel cell powered vehicle as well. So you would have a battery and you would have hydrogen fuel cell, and essentially what that gives you is way more range, gives you faster refills on the hydrogen tank, it gives you more supplemental power to, like if you're towing or something like that and you need those peak power demands, the fuel cell can kind of help supplement some of that. In my opinion, they're awesome. They're working really well on the Nikola semi trucks, so there's no reason why we can't adapt some of that same technology into the Badger pickup. Now, I know there's a couple little projects here and there, but nobody has come out with something like this bold and this in your face saying, this is gonna be a hydrogen project. So shooting this video was really, really hard. There are so many moving pieces and little details all over the place that we need to address and include so that we can just end the confusion. Just set the record straight right here, right now, which is why we shot the video, got it edited. I watched it and I thought, you know what? There's a couple little parts we gotta pick up, and what I'm shooting right now is basically me not happy with my own product, coming back after the fact and reshooting, because it's important to me that this message is clear and accurate. With that said, I want to get into why everybody said that this was a Ford truck when it clearly is not a Ford truck. Anytime you're building a vehicle, you got to take it and separate it into basically two different pieces. You've got the frame, the chassis, which is kind of everything bottom half of the vehicle down, and then you've got the body, which is kind of the bottom half of the vehicle on up. There was accusations that the frame of this truck was all Ford parts. And it's just not true. This is a custom engineered, designed, and built frame specifically for Nikola. This is what in the EV space they refer to as the skateboard. The skateboard is essentially the frame, the chassis, the area where the battery mounts to, and then from there, it's where you mount up all your independent suspension, your E-axles, which, speaking of the suspension, all Nikola. The E-axles, all Nikola. The rotor, the stator, I believe those came from Bosch, which was a partner of Nikola at the time. The lower half of the truck, that's pretty much all Nikola parts that were designed, engineered, and built specifically for this project. But even as you move to the upper half of the truck, look, Nikola bumper, Nikola headlight, Nikola grille, Nikola hood, Nikola fenders, Nikola wheels, Nikola doors, Nikola mirrors, Nikola rear door, Nikola running boards, Nikola bed. Inside the bed is Nikola parts. As you start to dig into the internal components of the truck, like the electronics, infotainment system, that's all Nikola. The controls, the DC to DC power system, all that stuff designed and built by Nikola specifically for this project. But I also want to make it very clear that yes, there are parts from other different manufacturers on here, because that's what the automotive industry does. They share parts and pieces, especially when they're prototyping, because a prototype, the whole concept is to just see if you can build a vehicle that's actually going to work with the design that you have in mind. And in order to get to that point, there's no way you're gonna go out and build all these new different parts and pieces, like even dumb stuff like the seat frames and the airbags. It's not necessary for the whole prototype process. But I'm hoping that you guys are getting a better picture of what we're looking at here and why I feel very comfortable in saying that the great majority of this truck is all Nikola components that were designed, engineered, and fabricated by Nikola. when Nikola went public back in 2020, their stock price came out and people were really excited about it and they were buying it like crazy, which, drove the value up. It got to like $90, $95 a share. And since then, since everything happened, it's kind of just slowly started coming down and down and down. Today, I think it's somewhere around like the 70 cents per share. So to go from like $90 to $95 a share down to 70 cents shows me that the company needs help getting their message to you guys the right way. What I mean by that is you need transparency. You need updates. You need to know what's going on. You need to know why you should be excited and why you're supporting this project and why I'm so excited about it. So that's the whole purpose of today's video. Is I still have a lot of faith in Nikola as a company as a whole. They've got technology, they've got talent, they've got great engineers, great people over there that really kind of, they know what they're doing. But in order to bring that share value up, the company has to be communicating. We have to be talking with you. We have to be updating you. We have to be getting all the investors excited and giving you confidence that this project really is moving forward and that the company is taking steps to be viable in the EV space. And that's why I've recently been nominated to be on the board. I'm not on the board yet, but there will be a vote soon with the shareholders. Our goal is to be able to get myself and a few other people on the board who are ambitious and excited and ready to make those changes and ready to bring Nikola back to its former glory, where it was moving and shaking and making big differences in the EV space and actually getting people excited and developing new products. I know that the company's capable of that, and I know that the company's been trying its hardest over the last 3 years, but unfortunately with everything that happened, it just left kind of a black hole of consumer confidence. Being on the board, I'll be able to implement changes and grow that consumer confidence by simply communicating what's actually happening, developing cool projects, and doing what the company originally set out to do in the beginning, which was change the world, create cleaner running vehicles, create vehicles that are more efficient, create battery systems and inverters and electronics and stuff that don't exist. And that's always been the goal of the company, and I believe the company can still get there. So when you guys hear, you're gonna see press releases, you're gonna see stuff in the news talking about me being nominated for the board. That's the reason why. With that said, none of this is investing advice. I'm not telling you to buy shares. Do not make any financial decisions based off of what I'm telling you today, simply because all I'm doing is getting you guys caught up on a project that we've been working on for a really long time and that we're really excited about moving forward, now that we've actually got it purchased and we have full control of it. When you hear prototype, you typically think of the shell of a vehicle. It's a complete truck and it's beautiful. It even has the freaking water fountain in the dash that Trevor promised. As awesome as these trucks are, they're nowhere near ready to go. The HVAC system isn't fully programmed. The infotainment system, not fully programmed. The heated and cooled seats, that stuff's not working. There's a bunch of stuff that's not connected because it takes all the software and the connection of all these different systems. But all that stuff will obviously eventually get done as we move forward with the project. It's real, it's here. It's for people who are actually gonna use their trucks. Take it to the job site. It's got the power inverter and all the plugs and stuff all over the bed. Like, it is designed really, really nicely, and the layout is exactly what I would, look for in a truck. So like I said, in addition to the Badger, we've got the Nikola UTVs. It's the NZT. On my left here, they've got the standard NZTs, just flat black, and then you've got a Coyote Tan military NZT that was designed specifically for the military. It's called the Reckless, intended to have self-driving capabilities. Like, it's really cool technology. And the power in those things is nuts. Now you guys may be wondering, like, hey, you got to deal with Polaris. What's going to happen there? Polaris is one of my longest standing best partners in the world, and I'm not going to do anything in the UTV program until I'm on the same page with them. And then to my right, we have another NZT, which is just basically base model. And then next to it, we have the next generation of the NZT. Way better suspension, bigger axles. In fact, the E-axles in that UTV, they share with the Badger. It really feels a lot like a full-blown trophy truck. The suspension design, everything on it is wild. That is a high-performance vehicle. Many of you may have seen this, but at SEMA a few years back, Nikola displayed the cab that goes on the new NZT. It essentially is like a miniature truck with a lot of power and a lot of suspension. Now, full transparency, this one is currently working. This one, since it sat in storage for 3 years, needs some software updates and some new batteries and stuff, and we just haven't gotten into it yet. I'm not gonna come here and promise you all these different, things that the truck can do and performance capabilities and stuff like that, because I don't know. And then the final product that we purchased as part of this whole deal sits right behind me, and it's the Nikola wave runners. Those things are so freaking cool. Nikola owned a proprietary, it's like a patent on a process to stamp thermomold holes for wave runners. Actually own the patent, and which we now own. I know there's some other companies that are messing around with that stuff, and that's probably going to become a bigger conversation here soon. But we're not quite to that point yet. But I will tell you, these wave runners have been tested. They've been on the water. I believe somebody told me they had a 2 to 3 hour runtime, which is pretty good. And it's like instant thrust, super fast. And they're just really cool, great looking machines. I saw it fall apart. I was part of it. I witnessed everything firsthand. And, as part of that process, we saw the potential. We saw that this project could still thrive, and that a lot of people would really love it if we brought this thing to the market. Hell, you guys would love it if we just showed you what we started, which is what the whole purpose of this video is. I want to show you guys that we did build the Badger. It was delivered in time for the show in December 2020 that we promised it would be. It is really cool. It runs, it drives, the windows roll down, it's got, a full interior. It is a really, really cool truck, and it's been sitting in storage for, over 3 years as we've been working on this deal. And the fact that I'm now able to announce it, this is one of the biggest moments in my career. It was a good project. It was a good business venture. It was something that the world needed and could be excited about. And I still believe that, which is why I'm here talking to you guys today. In the following weeks, you're gonna see videos of the Badger doing more testing. We'll do some off-road testing. You'll see more towing. You'll see it in different environments. Like, we really wanna see what this thing's capable of. Even though it's just a prototype, this is pretty close to what we would have liked to build for production. So to wrap this up, guys, I wanna ask you, what questions do you have? What do you want to know about this project? Ask me anything. Drop in the comments below, and we will read through those. And in some of the follow-up videos, we'll get to those questions and help bring you guys up to speed, because that's exactly what I want. I don't want this weird cloud of confusion where nobody knows what's going on and is it real, is it not real? No, guys. My whole goal here, not just with this project, but on YouTube and life in general, I want to be as transparent as I possibly can, because the more we show you guys the good and the bad, the more you can understand the process and you can respect it and you can really get behind it, because you're watching it fail and then, overcome those failures and eventually be triumphant is the goal, right? Drop your questions below. And thank you, every single one of you guys, for your support. Thank you for your patience. Like I said, I'm so sorry that it took me this long to get to you and give you some answers, but it's better late than never, and you need to know that I've been pushing this thing hard since day one to be able to get you guys some answers, and I'm glad that we're finally here. I want to send a huge special thank you to my partner, Cole Cannon. I don't know if there's many people in this world that could have negotiated that deal because of the patience that it required and just the complexities of the relationships. It was not an easy deal to put together. So, with all that said, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys in the next video.